Welcome to any new viewers. Can I introduce, first of all, Declan Hannigan and Roderick Hill. And these are two seasoned actors from Budapest. And we're part of a group who meet regularly to read Shakespeare plays here in Budapest. And we've recently started workshopping some key scenes from some of the favorite plays we've been reading. So today we're going to have a quick chat about the first scene that we have workshopped entirely online using the Zoom platform. So this is from Othello. It's a two-hander. It's from Act 4, Scene 2, and it's between Roderigo and Iago, played by my two friends here. So to kick off, first of all, this strange hybrid product we've made here. We've made something that's part theatre, in the sense that we've done it live in one take, but we've made it kind of visually interesting for the screen, and we've done it entirely remotely, working in separate places on the Zoom platform. What kind of challenges or what kind of opportunities did that bring up for you, Declan?
Well, it's a really interesting project in that sense, because usually when you're performing, whether it's in film or TV or theater, you're in the presence of another person. And that always helps you to react and to perform. And that's what brings performances to life, is how you can, this dance between actors' attitudes, behaviors. And it's really interesting to try to get that through this platform. And it took us a while to get used to how we would do that, and to get used to each other's rhythm as well.
Yes, because it may be, for some people, they need to be perhaps reminded, nobody ever was in the same room. And we put a lot of work into trying to get eye lines across the center of the screen to get a sense of these moving bodies in one space, and making it feel a little bit cinematic at times as well. How did you feel, Rod? What did you feel about this strange thing we did?
Yeah, similarly, it was a really interesting blend of some of the things you might see in film, like learning to be on certain marks, to be within the frame, and also a rehearsal in the sort of classic theatre sense of playing that out live and interacting with another actor. I think that was really interesting to me, again, like Declan said, about how you can feel the energy of the other actor, even though they're just a sort of disembodied voice. So that was a really interesting challenge. Aside from the sort of general technical challenges, it was an interesting theatrical challenge.
Yeah, you could really see that. I could really see that when you're aware that the characters are really, or the actors and characters are really listening to each other. So one person on this side of the screen is not even looking at the other character, but they really are drinking in everything they're saying and thinking about them. It really keeps the tension between the characters. You really feel like it's a live scene. That really came across, I thought. It was great. Can we move on a little bit to talking about the characters themselves? So we've got this extraordinary, famous trickster, huckster, Iago, who revels in doing sheer evil. In this scene, he's presented with a problem. He normally has this gullible fool, Roderigo, entirely in the palm of his hand, but Roderigo has seen through him and comes and gives him an ultimatum right at the top of the scene, which he wasn't expecting. And he has to be light on his feet and think super fast, as he always does. In what way did you find, how did you find that quality, Declan, in terms of the guy thinking on his feet with this problem?
I mean, I think that's the thing I really like about Iago, which is crazy to say because he's like one of the darkest villains in Shakespeare, is that he's an incredibly smart guy and has been passed over for promotion, which has rankled him. And he's a very suspicious person. He's got this darkness in his soul that he just sees the worst in people and exploits the worst in people. And he's actually finally caught. The one person in the play that figures out what he's up to is Roderigo in this scene. And that's an amazing moment, because we go, oh, he's done. He's been caught. And
it's a fool. It's the gullible fool who sees through him.
Yeah. It's amazing. And so it's a great moment because just when it looks like everything is going his way, Roderigo presents him with this problem. And I think it's lovely to watch the scene. It's I think 6 minutes altogether of Iago trying different tactics to get around Roderigo, trying different ways to get through the armor. And when he discovers the right path, it's a giant risk to infuriate this man who's already kind of discovered his secret. But he takes that risk and provokes him, and I think that's the great moment.
He really knows how to see the chink in people and to really work it, doesn't he? I mean, and weirdly, in terms of our own human psyche, we really enjoy watching that, which is a bit disturbing. But yeah, and this scene is extraordinary, isn't it? In the way that in that short time, Shakespeare's such a master at this, presenting a character with a sort of insurmountable problem that they use their wits, and by the end of the scene, it's a complete pivot, a complete turnaround, and it's absolutely delicious to watch. Yeah, so that's awesome. What about then Rod, this gullible fool, Roderigo? Now, there are various fools in this piece. Even Othello is a fool in the sense of him making such desperate mistakes and misunderstanding things. We have the trickster fool in the form of Iago. Now, in your case, it's the gullible fool, the gull. He's easily duped in this case. However, even though there's a certain element of comedy in this, of course, I found myself still feeling something for this guy. And he had some layers and he had some depth, which I find it made it even more interesting. So can you talk a bit about how we discovered those various layers, indeed what they kind of were? In other words, what was the energy that this man brought into the room in a way for you?
Yeah, well, I think that's, when you talk about layers, that's the interesting thing, because in one place, in one way, this is the fool who realised he's been fooled, and there is, as Declan says, a certain within that. This is a guy who's actually sort of seen through Iago, one of the few people. But on top of that, he's challenging someone who's more military than him. So there's a danger to it, as well as the nervousness and the sort of idiocy of it. There's this kind of courage this man's brought to sort of bring his problem to Iago. I think what's interesting for me is that at the core of Roderigo as well, this is a man owned by his obsession, driven by his obsession. That obsession for Desdemona brings him to confront Iago, which might be dangerous. But it also shows that even though he's come to sort of say, I've had enough, it's over, I'm giving up, there's a sort of secret desire for there to be some results. So when he's presented actually with a very direct but dangerous option, this obsession of his to get a result kind of overtakes him and he falls for it. I'll go again. So there are a number of layers to it, I think.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting that he's given all his wealth, because his desire for Desdemona is so much. He is ripe for the picking in a way for being manipulated by Iago. But we feel that. That's what I kind of enjoyed about this performance particularly, is that it's a very strong feeling. He's in love as well as desire and lust. And the idea of seeing a character working hard for what they want. People often say that, we feel the most for the characters that we see working hardest for their action on the screen or on stage. And we definitely feel in this instance for this idiot man, who's also vaguely criminal in what he's doing, and eventually definitely criminal in his intentions. We actually do feel something for this gullible fool. And I personally find that, really enjoyable. So that's the layers were working on that level for me. That's great. I think that's enough of an introduction for anyone to watch the scene, which, by the way, everybody, you can see in a separate clip. And thank you, everybody, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Bye. Thank you.